In the third part of the tutorial, I'm going to explain how you can use ManicTime to generate statistics. First, I will select the range for which I want statistics to be shown, and I will select the month of April. Now buttons to the right, the left and the right arrow, will change the date range by the same amount of days forward or backward. So if I click the right arrow, the range changes to the next 30 days, and if I click the left arrow, I am back where I started. This week, this month and this year buttons will set the range to current week, current month and current year. And all button will set the range from when you first started using ManicTime till today. And I will show you what the group by drop-down does later. Now let's create some statistics. Let's say I first want to see how much time I was behind the computer. I click Add, and now if I click a drop-down for type, I have 3 choices. And these 3 choices directly correspond to the timelines we talked about earlier. And since I'm interested in my active time, I will select Activity Timeline. Now I can select between the values on the activity timeline, and I will select Active. And I click OK. The chart now shows me my active time. So for example, I can see that the most time I spent behind the computer was on Monday the 14th, and it was around 8.5 hours. Now how about if I want to see which week I was most active? I can go to the group by drop-down and select by week. And the chart updates to show me active time by week. Now let's say I want to see how much time I spent browsing. And if you remember, I created a tag for browsing. So I click on the Add button, and for the type I'm going to choose Tags. And I select Browsing. And you also have an option to select the color for the chart. It defaults to the same color tag is represented with, but you can change that. And I'm going to select a red color, since I'm not really proud of my browsing habits. And I click OK. Now I can see, for example, that in the 4th week out of 38 hours active, I spent nearly 6 hours browsing the web. Now let's add some more. Let's say I want to see how much time I spent using both Firefox and Internet Explorer and compare that to my browsing tag. That will tell me how much time I spent browsing for work and how much time I spent browsing sites unrelated to work. Now first I'm going to deselect active time, since I don't need that in my comparison. And now I'm going to click Add, and I'm going to select the applications timeline. And I'm going to select Firefox and Internet Explorer. And I'd also like to change the name of this statistics. So I'm going to type in time spent browsing. And I click OK. Now I can see that nearly 1/3 of the time I spent browsing sites unrelated to work. If I want to see the total amount of time I tagged as browsing, I can see that above the chart. Total in range tells me how much time I tagged as browsing in April, and total all shows me a sum of all the time I tagged as browsing since I started using ManicTime. That's all I wanted to show you. I hope you will find ManicTime as useful as I do.